So Tyler DeBoer, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. He said, so starting this episode 15 now, we have our new hires, Sato, Ando, and Konogi, join our team of lovable anime makers. And then he says, except you, Taro, eventually everyone still dislikes you.
Yeah,
but this episode probably gives us Tsubaki Ando, his personal favorite, a super fan who's entered the industry. With Sato and Ando in the production, they're now with Miyamori with the Cur.
They're where Miyamori was in Cur 1.
Oh, it was in Cur 1, sorry. Pretty much during this episode, we get to see parts of the process we didn't see in the first season, like script reading and location hunting. That's true. What was cool about episode 15 is like they kind of delved more into the meetings and like all the other things that they didn't really. I mean, they did it all in the episode, but it was nice using the bear and the doll. I don't know their names, but they're pretty much explaining what's going on.
They're like the chorus of Shirobako.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with like the old like Greek play, the idea of the chorus is like giving commentary and context to what the protagonists are doing.
Yep.
As an aside that like only the audience is supposed to hear, basically. Although in this case, the bear and the doll, I also forget their names. Are Miyamori can hear them, but
say them very often. I mean, it's Miyamori's thoughts.
Yeah, it's her
just,
thoughts,
her
but
problems.
they function as contextualizing what's going on with her. So I like that they use that because it also like aids Miyamori's personality. Like you get to see her personality
totally,
with it.
yeah.
How like angry she gets.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart way to give like the kind of chorus sort of feel.
Little angel and devil.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a super informational episode. Oh, but yeah, I agree. The super fan is like so awesome. I love her so much.
Yeah.
She's like, she remembers. I think she commented on Jiggly Jiggly Heaven, and he's like, no, it was 10 minutes. But yeah, and then finally at the end of the episode, Tyler continues, because everything goes wrong, the author has chimed in and declared character design need to be reworked and halting all production.
It's just like once you kind of get the swing of things, like good times, and no, good times stop.
No, yeah, what I like is like, so before it was an original, anime. Here they're adapting a manga, and then seeing the pros and cons and what happens with each. This is like, whew. Like they were on track. They were fine. And then because of that PR dude, I don't know who he is. I hate him.
He works with the
editor.
editor.
Funny story.
Funny
story. God.
Jeez.
Yeah, I really like that we get to see both sides, like the original and the adaptation. I think that's really cool. It's really smart the way they did that with like the first Cur is you get to see how making an original work works. Original work works. That was a poor way to phrase that. But like the trials of making that, like him not being sure about the character, like actually I want her to be like this, and it's like, no, you can't just do that.
Like
or
last minute,
or like changing the ending or changing something like that versus the adaptation. Now you're working with at the confines of somebody else, and that presents a whole different set of problems.
Yeah, and at least they're doing the fair thing, which is listening to the author. I mean, they could just be like, no, sorry, we got this in our rights, and we're gonna do what we want with it. Because I'm sure that could happen with some studios who are just like, no, we are too far. We're gonna keep going.
Yeah, and it's like you have to weigh, like, do I want to listen to the original like author and editor of this work, and hopefully that'll please fans. Yeah, because like if you change it completely, if you're like, nah, screw you, like we already have it in production, we're just gonna do it our way. Like the fans are kind of like that could upset them too. Like the fans of the manga being like, you got it all wrong, guys. Yeah. So you have to weigh that too. Yeah. So it's so stressful.
It's so stressful. I know about that going on in episode 16 too, where one guy's just like, why do you care? Just keep going. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like,
the PA. What is his name?
Yeah. I always forget his name.
I know. The new guy.
Bitter guy.
New guy. Yeah.
Bitter guy. Worse than Taro.
I know. Yeah. Seriously.
That's his name. Worse than Taro.
Worse than Taro.
He doesn't even deserve a name. No.
Yikes.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's so annoying too.
Yeah, he's super. Speaking of the next episode, I love the title, Table Flip.
Yeah.
Right?
I was kind of hoping we had to see Miyamori just
right.
Bye.
So Neil Toro says, I understand the author's right to criticize and approve any attempt at reproducing adapting his work, but would it kill him to provide concise bullet points on how to do so?
I know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's just like,
I don't know. Yeah. So if you've ever like had a job, like this happens a lot in like service jobs. Like for example, I worked at a surf shop, and like sometimes the boss will be like, you're doing it wrong. And you're like, okay, but well, how do I do it right then? I'm just folding clothes. And that's sort of the feeling of frustration. It's the same feeling of frustration where you're like, okay, so I'm doing it wrong. Fair. Whoa, if I don't know how to do it right, then I'm just going to keep doing it wrong. And I feel for them on that.
Yeah, and especially the hardest part is that you're just talking to this guy who is somewhere else, doesn't have the time of day for you.
Yeah.
I'm just sending you an email, and like they can't even like kind of try to talk with him about these things. Like they can't, there's not really a good interaction. They can't do anything. They can't ask questions. They can, but it's just like...
It's so hard to do that over email.
Yeah. There is a very big wall there.
Yeah.
She does not care.
It's
Which
like,
is also surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Communication's big in this industry.
Yeah.
Like, you know, with the issue with Taro the first part of this series, and then now with the editor, like, or the creator.
I just want to like shake everyone and be like, just talk to each other.
Why don't you just like, you know, stalk them or something, find them somewhere.
So
get it together.
I'm going to get to an email we got about the watch party, which is very
Email
exciting.
for a watch party.
From Leonardo Espinoza. Thank you for your email. This is afternoon, IGN Anime Club members. Hello.
Oh.
Afternoon.
Hello. Episode title for episode 16, Table Flip, was perfect because that's what I wanted to do when they said they had to stop all production. Straight away, I knew that the author-editor was bad news, as he played the yes man in earlier episodes. So
yeah,
he was just like, yeah, funny story, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, very yes man.
Funny story.
That's a good way to like summarize him.
They should have gotten the author's phone number, email, carrier pigeon, or something because the editor was not a reliable channel. I'm glad that the author business was resolved rather quickly, but all that pressure on Yumi really took its toll as the author letters kept rejecting her drawings. Goth senpai, baseball therapy, and armor is something everyone needs in their lives from time to time. Finally, here's a comparison of Yumi. Oh, anyway, send them a picture of the drawings from what they were to what they changed to.
Nice.
Which is really cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. Also, I hope to one day be somebody's goth senpai. I love that name. Goth senpai.
Goth Lily-sama.
Goth Lily-sama. Yeah.
The best.
I love her.
Yeah.
I love her so much.
As Adrian Chen put it, episode 16 is my favorite Shirobako episode because we get more of Lolita-sama.
Goth Lily-sama.
Yeah, so that's the nice thing is that Shirobako is taking the time in the second half to like look at the other characters and what they do and why they're important.
Yeah.
And this is just such a fun episode. Like, even though it's very stressful, they kind of shy away from that because it's like, hey, we already did the big stressful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's just ease it back.
Yeah.
It's fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I love how each person has a different like de-stressor. Like Lolita, you know, her going to the batting cages and pitching too. She did both. And then
I love that part where me and Maury's just like, this could be an anime.
Yeah.
I know. Baseball team.
It's like
I would watch
that. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'd watch that.
and then there's the kinesthetics on the roof.
Yeah.
That too. I was like, this is fun. More of that. But yeah, as Giselle De Silva says, two things that Gothy Lolly brought up that I found really interesting: Oasis and donning your armor. What do you guys do to escape and relieve your stress? Do you have something you've done in order to face the world? For me, it would be reading manga and comics. So yeah, that's an interesting question. Yeah, what do you guys do?
Yeah, I put on the more eyeliner I'm wearing, the more ready I am to face my day.
Nice.
Today, I put on a lot of eyeliner. I was inspired by Fanime because you can put way more makeup on and like no one thinks it's weird. So I was like, oh, I can do this much eyeliner and I won't like look crazy.
Really? We're both wearing all black today.
Yeah, we are. God. I think we might be.
I didn't get the memo.
Might be.
Oh, we also have bows.
Anyway. We also both have black bows.
And you might. Sorry, Mike.
You missed. He missed the dress code clearly, but I think Miranda and I are both Goth Lily-sama. I think a little bit, but yeah, for me it's eyeliner. Eyeliner is my armor.
Nice.
Yeah, and Goth Lily-sama put it in a really good way that in the creative business, like even with us too, like what we have to do is like writing and working creatively. Like you have to be ready to face criticism.
Yeah,
and some of it's maybe undeserved and some of it is, and it's very harsh and it's easy to be offended by that or take that personally because it's something that came out of you. It's like something that only you could have created.
Right. With creative work, you put a lot of yourself into it, and that's why I think it's so easy to get really hurt when someone doesn't like it, even if the reason they don't like it, I mean, like it has nothing to do with you. It's like I had a hard time with that with reviews when I first started writing reviews.
That's hard.
I cried the first time Dan Sanderson edited me. I had an actual panic attack. But I it took me a long time. Actually, I hadn't met him in person, so it took me until I met him in person, because in email he's like very scary, but in person he's like, here's a picture of my baby, and I'm like, yeah. Yeah, it took me a long time to realize, like, he wants to take what you have and make it the best it can be, and so it's not. That's the thing that was hard for me for a while, and that's that's what I use as armor almost to protect myself, is knowing like these are people who care. Like I work with a whole room full of people who care about me, and when they say they don't like something, it's because they know I can do better, or they know that it can be something greater.
Right. And kind of saw that earlier with Emma and Sagata-san. Like, she's just like, hey, she's better than this. Like, don't let her learn these habits, for one. And two, like, I'm disappointed because I know she can be so much better.
Yeah.
And having that kind of mentorship is important. The unfortunate thing with Yumi-chan is that you kind of look at how the author was criticizing, and it was one of those kind of undeserved, like, not constructive. It was just like, just fix it. And like, that's the time when it is bad. And I think that's why, Gothic Lolita-san just stepped in and said, hey, she should have got her boss is like, you guys are the ones that need to digest this. Like, you need to figure this out. I love that meeting.
I'm so glad
much.
she did that. Yeah.
She was like, I quoted, like, please don't think that everyone can feel a little better with a little alcohol. Because they were like, oh, we'll take her out to lunch. Like, we'll get some beers after work. It'll be fine. And like, that's not what she needs. She needs to know how to fix this. And you are in charge. You guys are the directors. You guys figure it out and help her come through. Like, support her. Don't just say, well, you'll figure it out. Like, this is not just her problem. It's everyone's.
It's everyone's problem. And that's the other thing with creative work when you're working on a team. Like, that's the other reason people are critical, is because it's everyone's problem. Like, if you're all working together on something, being highly critical. I mean, like, you can be critical to a fault. You can be... You shouldn't be like rude and stuff, and you don't get to take it out on people, but like, it is important to be like, hey, I know you can draw better than this, and I know you can write better than this, or like, hey, let's work together and get you some practice for this thing, and that, I think, when it comes from a place of like wanting to get the best product you can, or wanting to see your friend or coworker or companion like really shine and do the best that they can do, I think that's when it's really strong. I loved her just being like, look, like, you can't just tell her to, you can't throw her to the wolves and be like, figure it out. Like, we're all here together. You have to help.
And they were all just kind of like looming over her desk. Or being, everyone was so down. And you get that. Like, they have to stop. They're all panicking. But at the same time, that panic gets pushed on Yumi. She's like, I'm so sorry. It's been like 10 days. She's just apologizing the entire episode. And I loved how they marked, like, hey, it's been 10 days. And, like, they kind of show how long is this taking her and how, like, this is mentally taking a toll on her.
Everyone came around.
It's just a great episode showing, like, hey, this is how teamwork should be when you're faced with a very tough challenge. And, like, what bosses should be doing, and not just, we'll get her beer, I think this doesn't fix anything. Although
that's
beer
still good.
is
Beer. I'm not saying I would reject the beer.
Back to Giselle's question.
Yes.
I like to wear lipstick, and if I need a second to get to myself to kind of refocus, I listen to music, especially Undertale music, and look at cute pictures of animals.
Oh yeah, the other thing I always
step back.
Yeah, pictures of cute animals. I jam to the Hotline Miami soundtrack when I'm working.
Nice.
Because that is like a folk. Because if you ever played Hotline Miami, like that music gets you in the zone, and you're like you're replaying the same level over and over again because it's really hard. And so I play that music, and I'm like, right, time to go. and then like the music starts getting weird, and I'm like, okay, next track.
Next track.
But or like Bone Trestle from Undertale. Bone Trestle's really good.
Heartbreak.
Yeah, nice, sweet.
What about you?
For me, for de-stressing, I watch anime. But also I like listening to music. Mostly house.
Yeah, house.
I like
stuff.
house. Yeah, because it doesn't. I don't really have to think about.
Yeah, I like to like go into a trance with it.
Exactly. And
I hug a plush too. I'll hug a plush.
Yes,
there you go.
Those are really good to do.
Ooh, yeah, punching a pillow if it's really bad.
I haven't done that in so long.
I know.
I really need to punch a pillow.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't get as bad anymore, so that's fine.
Well, I guess it's good that I haven't needed to do that, right?
Yeah, right?
You don't have to.
Exactly. That's pretty much what I do.
What's your armor?
Oh, my armor.
That cool hat.
No, that's just me being lazy.
You have some really great hats.
Yeah, because you have really good hair. But you gel it and stuff.
It's just, I've been
cute one, right? No.
I should, Well,
one.
I need a haircut first off because it's starting to like be really heavy, so I can't really do anything with it. For armor, oh man, I guess it's just nice like button ups. Like it makes me feel like I'm ready for the day. You know,
like put together.
Exactly. Yeah. If I was wearing like a graphic tee, I'm like, I'm not doing anything today.
Yeah, I've noticed there's days
Except
where
for this is different. This is different.
Well, that's like more than a t-shirt.
Depends on the graphic tee, but
yeah, I mean, like I've noticed there were a couple days where like a while back where I was having a rough time and I was just wearing like a hoodie and like jeans that didn't fit very well, and like it brought my mood down. Like my mood was already not great, and then wearing that also, I was like, man, I just feel gross and stuff. And then if I'm having a bad day, the way to turn it around for me, that's what I mean by armor, is like put on eyeliner, and now I'm like, all right, I feel a little better.
That's a good one.
And then like it carries you through the day, or you like put on something button down so you feel like, all right,
just mess up a little bit.
I'm ready. Yeah. That's why they say like even if you have a Skype interview, like don't wear pajama pants, like put on the full outfit because you'll feel powerful. Pro tips.
There you go.
Or wear heels.
Power heels. Heels are the best.
Yeah, so please let us know. What do you got? What's your armor?
Yeah, what is your armor?
Yeah.
I want to know some tips.
And how do you relieve your stress during work? I think that's even more specific. It's like when you're working on a project or if there's some big deadline, how do you refocus?
Yeah, my last one, this is like an actual serious tip that I use for when I'm starting to get anxious, that I learned from a coworker, Kyle O'Connor, who runs our social feeds, is to find 3 blue things. And you can modify the number based on like how bad your anxiety is getting. But this is it does 2 things. Blue is supposed to be a very calming color, like based on color theory. And then also having to stop and be like, all right, blue, blue, blue. Helps you refocus and keeps you in reality. Because one of the things that happens with anxiety, like I have diagnosed anxiety, versus just being stressed, it's different. One of the things that happens is you start to dissociate, and so like you feel very separated from reality, like you're not 100% there, and it's sort of hard to understand if you haven't experienced the feeling, but it feels like I'm just like kind of floating through today, and people are talking to me and I'm not really hearing it, but I'm responding, and I'm like faking it okay. And what I will do is I'll count blue things, and it'll help recenter me. So if you have problems with that, that's one of the things I do, and it really, really helps. So let me know if that helps you.
Nice. Yes.